Animator! I'm Zen, and I'm here to make your life a little easier in this crazy industry. Today I want to show you 4 simple animation tricks that will help you with your workflow. Here's a simple trick I learned from my lead. Usually we use main controller only for runs or walks. However, you can transform it into anything you need. Let me show you how. When you want to animate a character swinging from the object, like here, I've posed already, you want you want to have a nice arc, so you don't want to use this controller to swing around, because if you're gonna try to do that, you will have to adjust constantly to make the character go around like this, and it just gonna be, let me turn on the keys, so it will not create you a nice arc. You need to pivot the body from the arms, not from here, from the root or from the bottom of the character. You want a pivot to appear over here instead of all this. Let me delete the key. Is use this controller. Sorry, use the main controller, the bigger one, the one that's outside. Push it all the way up to where the rotation point is supposed to be, and then use the sub controller to push your character down like this. You see what I've done? So now what you have the main controller all the way on the top. Usually we don't have it there. But now what you have, you can rotate the character from this pivot. It's very useful for quick blocking out shots or even animation. I would keep it in animation as well. You can make your character now swing from here, and let me show you an example. So right now, if your character swings, it's a perfect arc for the bottom. And nice thing about this kind of animation, you can also make the character swing all the way. Just make it swing up. And if you want a character to continue animation, you can always have this character to jump off and continue running for it. So this is much easier way to block, and it removes constraints for the root. You will still have to constrain the arms, of course, because the arms are flaring. So for the arms, you'll create locators to constrain them. But the main root and main controller are very clean and simple. So this way you can use this. My next trick is very simple and could be obvious for some people. However, I still find that a lot of people not know about it. So here I want to show you how I move my IK arm and the prop during blocking stage, when you still need to adjust the posing, but you don't want yet to use constraint. You might face this problem that you select your object and you select your arm, and while it might move fine on one axis, this could happen on the other axis. So you probably need to constrain to move them together, and in blocking stage it might create a lot of mess. So the easiest way to solve this problem is to shift control, right click, world. Now your axis will follow the world direction instead of the object direction, because quite often if you go back, switch back to object, you can see that the box have axis up, right and forward, while this one has down, the right one is still there and this one is back. So to avoid this problem, you can always switch to world, and you can also select like a body, IK arm, and move it all together to adjust your posing. Back, forward will work anyway. However, it's not so applicable on rotation, so this method is mostly available for translation. When it comes to rotation, it's a bit trickier. Of course, at some point you will have to constrain the object to the arm or arm to the object, depending on your style of animating. And the next trick I want to show you actually blew my mind when I found it out after many years of animating. So let's say we have arm holding the object. I'll make a little bit of a mistake and I pretend like I didn't notice it before. Let's constrain, and we say that we already, like, you know, animated it, like this is some animation happening. I moved it here and I moved it there. And what I've noticed that, oh no, my arm goes through the object, right? It's very common, especially if you like have a smaller objects like cups or pen or something else holding like this. So most of the time, what do? We can use sub controllers to fix that, right? So if maybe this box has like additional controller to pull it up and it can save your life, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just put it here and hopefully I didn't animate this controller, right? But sometimes you really don't have a luxury of an extra controller, and what you usually do, you will unconstrain the object and then it pops back and you're like, oh damn it, you know, like so annoying. You can key it and unconstrain it so it at least stays the same place. Then you push it up, then you select the arm, then you again go here and you constrain it again. Ooh, we fixed it. But this is not what I do now. Let's go to the parented objects and go to the attribute editor. Right click on the arrow and find the parent constraint. So we all know if you move the object just like this and go for a next key, the object kind of just snaps back, right? Like you were here, you moved it here, and it just pops back. You can't adjust it, right, when it's constrained. You can. So you moved it here, let's move it. We're actually going to break it instead, right? You click update. And now, voila, your constraint point has been updated. So if you ever need to adjust, but you just don't want to delete that constraint because maybe you already keyed it, you don't want to mess it up, you don't want to rekey it, you can adjust it here, go to your attribute editor, find the parent constraint, and just click update. And this way, your object will update the constraint point. Easy and mind-blowing. And for the last trick of this video, I want to show you how to rotate your IK from a different pivot. Let's try to get a rotation of IK arm from the finger. The problem is very similar to the first one, that you need to change rotation point. However, in this case, we only need to rotate the arm, not the whole body, so moving the main controller will not be a good solution here, right? So I'll have a key here and let me move the arm, let's say here, and we want now create the animation where maybe she's like squishing a bug, or like maybe like trying to erase something quickly. So you kind of really do need to have a pivot of the arm to animate it nicely from the tip of the finger. So if you try to do it like from here, it just like, oh man, no, but I just want to swing around finger. How do we do this? Locator and constraint parent, best friends of animator. Let's create one locator. I have it on my shelf, but if you are looking for where to create it, it's under the create locator. And you can bring this locator to where your tip of the finger is. There you go, we found a locator. Let's bring it all the way here. We place it where we want the rotation to be from. There you go. So you can increase the size if you want, a bit easier. Quite often I do freeze the transformation, but if you freeze it, the scale will be gone. So you can use the custom freeze transformation by going here. You can just remove the scale and apply, so just slightly bigger in case you're afraid to lose it. Now what you can do, you can constrain your finger, constrain your arm to the locator. So let's just choose first the locator, then we choose the arm. I always key everything just in case, and I press constrain. If you are looking for constraint, again, it will be under constraints parent. I just have it on my shelf here. So now if you want to rotate, voila, you can rotate your arm from the pivot. So you can create the animation where your finger may be like doing some nice animation over here. However, you will notice the problem is that because your first key was up in the air, let me turn on the spline, you kind of have a problem that you lost the key when it was in the air, right? So you need to make sure that you key 2 times where it is already on the ground, like we're already contacted here and here. So now this was a contact pose, this is an X pose. So on the contact pose, remove the blend parent to 0. And you can this way preserve the animation of it landing to the point. Of course, if you face this, that's very often when you use constraints. You go to curves, you find the Xeniya filter, click on it, it fixes your problem. There you go. So you have a contact 0 and now it's 1, and you can have this nice animation. So you would have to key your constraint parent to achieve this, but your animation will look so much nicer than trying to animate trying to animate your IK arm from the wrist when you need to pivot. So it's very convenient even for our first case study that we did in the beginning. For the character swinging from here, you can use the same method. If you need to have some arm swinging, you can place locator in the middle and do exactly the same. So your arm have this nice swing, not from the wrist, but from the point where it holds. I know that this method is slightly trickier than the previous ones because it involves constraints and switching on and off. However, it is very useful and it will make your animation look much better. And that concludes today's tricks of trade. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please like this video. I'm a full-time animator, so I'm only able to make these videos once a month. If you don't want to lose me, subscribe and stay healthy, animator.